Yo, what's up, y'all? This philosophical from the rap review room, y'all. What's going on? What's going on, man? Today I'm going to do something different, right? Um, a couple things. I put out a post about is GNX better than Damn. That post is going to be right here, right? Let me know down in the comments what you guys think, also. But also prompted me to do a revisit on Kendrick Lamar's GNX. Let's talk about it. Um, has it stood the test of time? I did an album listen through of this album, right? And I got some things to say about it. I think some things that uh, were kind of, I'll say, really helping this album, hyping this album. I did an album listen through where I thought that there was a lot going on during this time period when this album came out. That now some time has gone by, I have some thoughts. I have some changes, some thoughts on it, right? So let's get it. This is going to be something different. The Kendrick Lamar GNX album revisit. Let's get it. Cut to the intro. What's going on? What's going on, y'all? Again, I really appreciate everybody that has liked, shared, and subscribed to the page. Continue to do that. Continue to comment. Also, if you're a musician, rapper, artist, hip hop artist, and you love music, and you want to debate with me with these album listen throughs, definitely don't hesitate to reach out to me. Also, if you would like a track, an album, or interview on the page, check out the page. Many playlists on this, man. Really have a lot of fun. People love debating with me about music. Many different types of music. I have debates about it all the time, y'all. Definitely don't hesitate to reach out. Let me know down in the comments also, y'all. So, as I stated, I had a post, right? Is Damn better than GNX? That's going to be right here, right? Let me know what you guys think about that one, because at the time, this is about, I say a couple weeks ago, I feel like GNX was a little bit better than Damn. I thought Damn was a little bit a disappointing album, in my opinion, of Kendrick Lamar, right? As far as album rankings for me with Kendrick Lamar, I think Good Kid, Mad City is number one. To Pimp a Butterfly is number two. I like Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. A lot of people thought that was his most disappointing album. I do think that's better than Damn. And then you have, in my opinion, GNX and then Damn. Section 80 to me, I don't really count that as an album. I count it as a mixtape. You can say it's an album. Uh, if I was to incorporate Section 80 in that, I would say that you have Good Kid, Mad City, then you have To Pimp a Butterfly, um, then Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Then I would probably put Section 80. Yeah, yeah. So Good Kid, Mad City, To Pimp a Butterfly, Mr. Brown, The Big Steppers, GNX, Damn, and then Section 80. If we're gonna incorporate Section 80, right? So I decided, I'm gonna do a revisit of GNX a little bit, talk about it a little bit. So let's give some clarity, right? This album came out last year, um, November of last year, 2024. It was released November 22nd, right? 2024. A couple things I feel like was hyping this album a little bit. That I feel like when I did my album listen to, I was very big Kendrick fan. I'm a big Kendrick fan. Don't let that fool you, right? But I have to be honest about some of this, right? A year later, do I find myself going back to listening to Kendrick Lamar GNX? I haven't. I haven't, right? And a lot of people's opinions, and I'm gonna give my thoughts on it in a few minutes, is that I feel like a lot of people kind of put this in kind of like the West Coast albums, right? Let's speak on it a little bit. I think at the time, Kendrick Lamar was going through some beef with Drake, and I think that accelerated a lot of the Kendrick hype to where you had songs like "Not Like Us" was really a hit, really a hit right? Speaking on Kendrick, a lot of the diss tracks um, that were kind of going back and forth between Kendrick and Drake, right? So I think when this, and then you had the announcement of the Super Bowl, right? And then the numerous features that Kendrick was doing, right? A little bit after that. So I think the hype behind the beef with Drake, Super Bowl performance, he started doing some more features, i.e., clips, i.e., Playboy Cardi. I'm not going to review that. Not going to speak on that, right? Plus a lot of the Drake responses as far as his diss. I think this. Can you say this album was a little overhyped? And today, I think I can say that I won't say it got a lot of attention. Once that hype calmed down, do I still go back and listen to this album? No. Now, I do think there are some songs on here that are kind of like still being played a little bit, radio hits a little bit, but I versus songs like Money Trees, versus songs like Don't Kill My Vibe, off, excuse me, off that classic album. Even songs off to Pimp a Butterfly, which I think those were amazing albums as far as they were sequenced, conceptually. I don't really think this album GNX had that same like sequencing and concept here, right? There were some good things on this album, and I gave this album a 9 at the time, right? Now, you can even say that listening to this album a lot a year ago to the to the time of now, I've listened to it less. You can even say that you've heard it enough to where you don't want to hear it anymore. Yes, that could be the case. That could be the case. But at the same time, sonically, conceptually, compared to Kendrick's previous albums, I don't think it's like it measures up, right? Now, do I still think it's a 9? Now, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't like I said, I don't think it's better than Good Kid, Mad City. I don't think it's better than Pimp a Butterfly. Now I don't think it's better than Mr. Miranda Big Steppers, right? Um, I think this album speaks on a lot of like, again, that hype. There was a certain type of sonic and a certain type of like sound on this album where it felt like I think Kendrick was being kind of honing in on Not Like Us, right? I think this would have been even a classic album if, let's just say, Kendrick didn't release those diss tracks, right? But there was a beef between Kendrick and Drake, and those diss tracks were on this album. Oh man, I think we would then have a conversation of it would contend with Good Kid, Mad City. I think it would because those diss tracks, Euphoria, um, 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 616 in L.A. Even Not Like Us. Um, and it's very surprising, Not Like Us is on it, but I forgot. You had a heart. What's the heart? Let me just look. Let me just look back because I'm missing a track here. I'm missing a track. Um, it was 616 in L.A. It was Euphoria. Um, the Heart Part Six. Now, no, Heart Part Six was Meet Meet the Grams. Oh, Beat the Grams. Yes, Meet the Grams. You had Meet the Grams. Of course, Not Like Us. Of course, Hard Part Six was Drake. You got 616 in LA. I just feel like, and even starting with the verse on like that on Future, that kind of started it too, also, right? But I'll say I even think if these tracks were on the album, I think it would definitely be a contender for like definitely past the Pimple Butterfly because I think that was his most. It was a completely opposite of Good Kid, Mad City, but creatively, I just feel like it doesn't get it. It doesn't get like the hype and the accolades it deserves. And I know, damn, people are gonna say it won a Pulitzer award, right? But for me, I just was not a fan of that album for some reason. It just didn't. I didn't really connect with that album. Maybe I'll do an album listen through of that, right? But if we even kind of go into kind of the track listing here, and definitely if you want to go back and listen to my album, listen through this, um, definitely check it out. That's going to be down in the description box. But I think this album had a lot of steam behind it, right? The beef with Drake, the announcement of the Super Bowl, the diss tracks. And I just feel like when those diss tracks came out, the beef with Drake, and even the Super Bowl like performances, I don't think Kendrick could have went wrong either way on this album. Now, we can call that overhype. We can call that like, whatever he could have put out would have been amazing to us at that time. But now I haven't really gone back to this album, right? Um, I still think it's a good album. I still think it's a good album. And maybe I'll do another revisit next year to kind of say, does it stack up with the albums that have come out this year? And do I kind of put that in the realm of, am I still listening to this? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think we've had a little bit better selection of albums this year compared. And GNX just hasn't been on my radar as far as listening, right? It's a good album, yes. But let's start off with the track listing here. Whacked Out Murals, I thought was an amazing track. Again, amazing track. Squabble Up, you can even say, had that same sound of like Not Like Us, right? Luther was a hit, radio hit, right? But then you had the 30 for 30 track, again with SZA. SZA was on this again, right? Man at the Garden, I thought was a very creative track, right? Hey Now was cool, right? And then you had Reincarnated. I felt like that was again a Tupac sample. I thought that was a real dope track there, right? TV Off was one of my favorite tracks. Dodger Blue was cool. Peekaboo was cool. I feel like after Reincarnate, TV Off, Dodger Blue, and Peekaboo kind of was sounding a little bit of the same, right? The hype, again, the hype sound there again, right? A Heart Part 6, I felt was dope. I felt like this is something that could have featured like the way he was talking about Black Hippie and things like that. I said that on my review, man. I was like, man, it'd be dope if we got a remix with Absol, J Rock, and Schoolboy Q on that. That would have been dope. I think GNX track was a huge letdown, was a disappointment. I thought that was one of the was not a great track on this album. Just wasn't feeling this track at all. And then Gloria, I think Gloria was kind of like again we had SZA. So I think this album would I now I don't think it deserves a re-ranking, right? Um, I don't see myself really gravitating back to this album, right? I don't see myself really going back to this album like I've been doing Clips. I think I'll be listening to Clips album for the next, I think Clips album's an instant classic, right? I think this album unfortunately was kind of on like had a lot of hype behind it. And I don't think Kendrick could have done anything because of the beef with Drake, the Super Bowl appearance, and also kind of like the features he was doing. He had a lot of hype behind him, a lot of attention, right? So do I put this on the echelon of like Good Kid, Mad City and To Pimp a Butterfly? No. But I do still think it's a good album, right? It's still a little soon to say if it's a classic. Still a little soon to call it a classic, but I think it's a good album. I have not gone back to this album, right? Um, definitely. I still stand that I do think that GNX is better than Damn by the margin at the time of me speaking on that. I don't think the margin is that far. I think it's closer. It's closer, but I do prefer GNX over Damn. When I go to Kendrick's discography, I want to listen to Kendrick. I definitely don't go back to GNX. I go to Pimp a Butterfly and to Good Get Mad City and a couple tracks off Section 80, I admit. And Mr. Morale, the Big Steppers. I felt like that was a vulnerability, emotional album. So I would say my revisit on GNX has been minimal. Has been minimal. And I admit that. When this album came out, I was very excited. The hype was real. I wanted to see what he was going to say on this. But to be honest with you, I don't think Kendrick could have said anything outside of what we got here. right? Even a little bit of the lyrics on here were very. It's a lot of hype, a lot of attention behind it, right? And I said it on my review. I felt like a lot of those diss tracks could have been on the album, should have been on the album, but they weren't. They weren't. And I even thought we were going to get a kind of a part two, a deluxe, an extinction, something, but we did. We did. So that's kind of my revisit on it. Um, I'm not going to give it a re-ranking because I do still think it's a good album. But I do think the margin between GNX and Damn are closer. I still prefer a little GNX over Damn a little bit. I'm still thinking about doing a album listen through that. Let me know if you guys want me to do that. Definitely check out my post. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. What do you guys thought on GNX? Are you still listening to it? Are you going back to it? I don't think it stacks up on a lot of. It's been a good year for hip hop, right? Years and up. But I think it's a good year for hip hop. I don't think GNX it's kind of taking a back burner for me a little bit, right? But definitely continue to like, share, and subscribe, y'all. If you're an artist and you want your music reviewed here, please don't hesitate to reach out, whether it be a track, an album, or interview, or if you would like to come up here, man, we can definitely debate music, do an album, listen through. You're definitely welcome up here, y'all. I'm Philosophical from the Rap Review Room, y'all. I'm out, y'all. Peace.